we'll start with questions about this week's practice. And, because it's such a small class, like practice reports, questions, any of this stuff from the last week about your meta practice is fine. And then also I'll add, if there are any other questions about meditation generically, bring them on, no problem. We'll deal with them. And then let me quickly go over what we're going to talk about today. And then we'll get into the discussion of meta. So we're going to talk about what is mindfulness versus meditation. Are they different? Then I'm going to give mindfulness instruction, the see, hear, feel technique. Then we're going to talk about mentalization, which is this ability to think about thinking, the ability to understand what you're experiencing, and then, somewhat accurately understand what others are experiencing as well, and then all the benefits to that ability. Good. Then I'll very briefly mention ethics and how that's going to help us build epistemic trust. And epistemic trust is like this concept, I believe it was developed by Peter Fonagy, and it is tightly correlated with just general mental health. Okay, good. And then I'm going to give the homework assignment. Okay, that's all we got in terms of what we're going to be dealing with today. How did practice go today? And then, oh, hey there, good to see you. Zilka, oh yeah, hey. Great, good to see you. Okay, super. So for the next few minutes, we can, Zilka, we're talking about last week's practice of metta, loving kindness meditation. And then we're going to have question and answer about that. But then if any of you have general meditation questions, bring them on, we can discuss them. Okay, so what's happening? How did this past week of practice go for everyone? What questions are coming up? What difficulties? What insights did you have? Where are you not clear on things? Okay, go ahead, Kurt.
So the concept of loving kindness has been prevalent throughout my week and for a while. The practice has not been part of my life very well. And so I found myself after a day or two going, I haven't sat and thought and meditated and just allowed it to filter in again. And it had me look at the past, 2 months or so, I guess it is now, and just see how I use my time. And one of the reasons I joined this series was because I realized I needed to and wanted to get back into the practice of mindfulness and quietness and stillness. Sure. So the good news is that came up a few times this week and reminded me of practice. Sure. The other news is that it didn't happen every moment of every day, and I'm okay with that. Okay. So I'm here. I'm willing to participate again in this week. So thanks for having this in order for me to be able to do that.
Great. Okay. Well, welcome again, Kurt. And then, yeah, I mean, incidentally, the Buddha was like Ananda, the Buddha's principal assistant, came to the Buddha one time, and he's like, you know what, Buddha, like surely half of the noble path, half of the spiritual path is the friends you keep. And the Buddha said, no, the entirety of the spiritual path is the friends you keep. So the point is that like it's really important to like have like a little bit of sangha, have a group of people that you're talking about meditation with, and that are supporting your practice, because you really can't do it in isolation. Oh, good.
So I could talk about my week.
Yeah.
I was not doing loving kindness at all before. I knew about the practice, but I was mostly focusing on breath counting and basically that's it. To not enter into the details, but so I tried following the course, and it was really surprising. I felt myself crying 2 times actually.
Oh, yeah.
And that was good tears. That was tears of emotion for the person I was visualizing in front of me. What it brought to me, I'm doing that in the morning. It lasts around 40 minutes, something like that.
Uh-huh.
And what is bringing to me is a very good start in the day, a feeling of more connection with everything around. So practice adopted for me, like totally. Very happy with
Fantastic.
it. And yeah, that's it. Okay, and I have to add something that's
Uh-huh.
I think interesting, that I was focusing on the person I was visualizing, trying to give something. I found my own words as you were
Yeah.
advising. But then in a talk earlier, where you made me notice that it's interesting to get it back also.
Yeah.
So it's what I have to try next. I mean, to make a loop of positive thinking, going, positive vibes going, and then coming back to me instead of just giving.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Okay, good, good.
Thank
Okay,
you.
good report, Julian, and I'm happy that it's working out for you so much. And then I'll clarify, or I'll add to what he just said, that he and I were talking separately, and I was really emphasizing that. So you're sending the meta, but it's very much coming back towards you, and like also one way of putting it is like you're sending the loving kindness, but it's very sloppy. You know, it's not a surgical strike. You know, you're sending it out there, and then you're sending it out, but in the process of sending it out, it comes back and envelops you as well. So that's kind of what I was talking about, and you want to lean into that aspect of it. Okay, any other questions, comments, practice reports, etc.? Yep, go ahead, Zilka.
Hey, all.
Okay, either way.
Somebody else, that's okay.
Okay, you can go first.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I missed the first class, so I'd like to introduce very briefly. I'm Silke. I'm from Germany, northern part of Germany. And I got to know Cedric in Florida during a teacher's training course. Also, Kurt, it's very nice to see you again. And since about 10 years, I was on and off with meditation. And the last years, I did it more regularly. And during the last month, I did it really every day, at least half an hour. And I was very happy to find your course that you're offering this here, because I'm getting more and more interested in diving deeper into practice of meditation and get to know more types of meditation. And I'm very, very happy. I was lucky to got the recording of your class.
Oh, good.
And I listened to that, and also did the guided meditation. And it was so amazing because what I find very enhancing for myself is the emphasis with this metta meditation to have in my consciousness this wishing well for myself and for everybody else. Because I'm a very friendly person already, but most of the time for all the other people, and not too much for myself.
Yeah.
And that was one thing which brought some more consciousness to myself. And I found, especially during the last weeks, I already in the evening, I was looking forward to go to sleep so I can get up and do my meditation practice, because I had this experience that it feels so nice, and that I'm so much connected to myself and not so much in the outside world and not so distracted everywhere. And it really, I could really feel what you said in your class.
Wow.
It is opening me up, and that is softening myself from the inside. And at the moment, for many months, I have the case that my husband is in Florida, I'm in Germany, so can only talk with social media. And sometimes I'm so busy here that when I want to text him or so, and then I'm not really connected with my heart. But now I found when I text in the morning after meditation, I find the most beautiful words for my husband. My heart is open, all the love is pouring out. That's so nice. And what you just said, it comes back to me. The more I send out, the more comes back to me. It's really, really nice experience. And also what you said, the homework we got to try during the day, to, if I see people or if I do something, always to think, okay, may you be well, may you be happy, may you, I don't know. That is really a difference than going through the day and only thinking, what do I have to do? And am I still on time for my appointment and whatever? It's really a big difference. I'm very thankful for that because it makes me smile. It makes other people smile. And what I also found during the metta meditation, you guided us from the easiest person to send love to more and more different people, which made it sometimes more difficult, especially in the end with enemies. And first I thought, do I have any enemy? But then if you are a jealous person like me, sometimes you always have an enemy. So that was the hardest part for me, because usually I couldn't send love to such a person. But what you said was to imagine, to send or to wish all this beautiful things to the being and not to the person around, to what my thoughts think this person is, but to the being inside. It was such a difference. And then it was possible to send love to that person. Otherwise it wouldn't have been possible. And that makes something different with myself inside. Because if I have all these negative thoughts about somebody else, I don't feel nice too. And then I pull myself down, and I have to work on that. So this was really beautiful. I thank you very much.
Oh, sure. It's my pleasure.
Looking forward to do more.
Good. Well, you seem to have had a really good result. That's fantastic. Super. Yeah, a couple of comments. Like, so, I think part of actually really optimal mental health is this this evenness, and positivity, but there's certain evenness around wishing well to others, but really equally well, wishing well to ourselves in exactly the same way. And also a lot of this has to do, what we're accomplishing is unwinding this, self-reproach and this harshness that we have towards ourselves, which I think I mentioned in the last class, that it's especially difficult for Westerners. We're especially hard on ourselves. So actually, many of the spiritual traditions from the East, which are popular in the West, don't place enough emphasis on addressing this self-reproach that we feel, and then we try to kind of skip it. And it doesn't work if we skip it. We have to learn how to be sweet and kind with ourselves. And in many ways, that's why I think metta and other heart practices should form the foundation for the practice. And they're what, of course, support the practice and deepening to transcendental levels, right? Because there will be transcendental insight if you keep going. But also it just brings about good mental health. So yeah, great. And also, man, it's really I just want to highlight what Zilka said here about bringing it out into the world, and so she's bringing it out into the world, into our daily life, very important. But moreover, finding that seeing how it is a refuge. I'm going to repeat that. For practice to really work, you have to understand it as a refuge. It has to be a refuge for you, to where you feel better doing it, and you're looking forward to it, and you notice how it transforms your day. Okay, great. All right, Alan, I think you had some comments to make.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is basically what I want to say is after Julian said that he was meditating and was actually feeling this loving kindness. I had a kind of opposite problem.
Yeah.
I was trying to meditate each single day, and on logical level, I understand the idea of being kind to others and just
Yeah.
trying to be good to your friends and to your enemies.
Yeah.
But I couldn't actually surface this feeling.
Okay.
Just I know it has to be somewhere if I meditate deep enough, but I didn't feel it.
Okay.
I didn't have this sense of friendliness or
Okay.
anything. So just my question would be: is there a way to focus your thoughts in a way which would enable you to actually feel this part?
Yes. Yes. Okay. So Alan, this is a so let me just make sure I'm understanding your question right. So like, yes, I understand it. I get what I'm doing. And I just couldn't really touch the friendliness and really get it going and then sending it out to people. It was just hard. And then what can be done about this? And is there a workaround? First off, there is a workaround. And I'll have two suggestions here. But am I getting your question right? And is there more around it?
No, that's basically what I'm asking. You're right.
Okay. Super. Okay. So the first thing is subtle is significant. Subtle is significant. So even if you have it just a tiny, 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 tiny bit, you build that, and so you grow it. And all of us are in this process. All of us are trying to make it stronger and stronger, and it will get stronger if we do it. Your report is very common. People struggle with this at the beginning. Some more than others, some less. It varies. So that's my first answer. And then my second answer is that, and I think that I didn't do this in the class, but one way to start metta, and actually I'm going to advise that you all add this onto your meditation when you start it. It's very easy to remember. We're going to go back to a moment of our lives where we received the seed of metta, the seed of loving kindness, the seed of friendliness. And then we're going to sit there with it and expand it. And then we're going to know, aha, this is it. And this is what I'm going to cultivate. And this is what I'm going to grow. So, okay, let's all do like, this is going to be like a 1-minute meditation. Okay, straighten up. Take the crown of the head and push it up towards the ceiling. And just settling in. And then there's this quality of ease and awareness and just being. Just things as they are. Good. Now, firstly, smile. Smile with the face. And then smile with the body, whatever that means to you. Okay, now we're going to think of a time that we were the recipient of loving kindness, of friendliness, of compassion, something along these lines. Okay, so thinking back to when someone showed us true kindness. And then, so we see the scene, we see that person smiling at us and we're smiling at them. And there's the sense of gratitude, bliss, happiness, and love, that you're being loved. And that it just naturally flows off of you back to them. It kind of goes into you and then is reflected back towards them. And it doesn't have to be an important event. It just has to be a moment where you thought, aha, I feel loved and accepted. It could be maybe when you saw a friend, they greeted you. Or maybe when a dog came and looked you in the eye and you petted it. Or maybe when you were cared for by your parents. So, okay, stay with this image. Okay, good. Now we'll let that go. All right, Alan, did that help? And could you get in touch with that?
Yeah, this is helping because I do have a person in my life, a close friend, which is just a kind of person who's just kind to everyone, because they're just who they are. They are just good person, and yeah,
Sure.
I can focus on this relationship and on numerous times when he just helped me without actually getting anything in return.
Sure,
So yeah,
exactly.
that's something I can hold on and try to grow from there.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
So then that's where you should start the meditation every time. And then you move it on to the others. And then whenever you lose it, just come right back to the start with that person that you've experienced that quality of love and that friendliness, that generosity. And then you go and build it over and over again. And then it's very important to be patient with yourself. Now, you have to do the practice to get the benefits, but I guarantee you they will come. And I guarantee that you can do this meditation. And let me just say that I was for so I've been meditating for 15 years and for 8.5 years very dedicated. And the first 7 years before being dedicated, my meditation was terrible. The first probably many years of my dedicated meditation, it was not easy and it was a struggle. And I didn't come into meditation with the best mental health. I really struggled a lot. And so you just have to stick with it. And then, it's a question of also maintaining the motivation. Like, look for how it's making the differences in your life. Like Zilka was talking about seeing, oh, it's more pleasant to be like this in the world. Like, notice those things and build up the evidence for it being worth your time. And then based on that evidence, you do the practice more and more consistently. Okay, good. Was there anything else coming up around that, Alan? I'm happy to deal with any other issues that are coming up.
But the one other thing what I wanted to mention is, and thank you for that, is you showed me what is the good framework, how to deal with your feelings towards your enemies, because currently I have a difficult worker, which is something which I don't usually experience. It just came out of nowhere. And this idea that at the end he also just wants to be happy and he wants to he's just doing it in the way which is not best, but his core intention is good, and that's I guess the one way how I can process what's happening without developing negative feelings, which to be honest won't help either me or him.
Yeah. Well, so you're having an insight here, right? You're saying, aha, you see that it's not going to help to be angry at him. Now, with that said, I think the danger here is that, so you see the enemy, you see the person you have the trouble with, you see, aha, it's not going to make any sense to be angry at them. And then, you try to send love towards their beingness, the quality of life itself in them. But this is very, very, very important. This is not a justification. Like, oh, I shouldn't be like this. What the hell is my problem? Why am I getting stuck on this? No. You should be kind and sweet with yourself. So this quality of, oh, this pisses me off. Like, it's okay. It's okay to be upset. Like, it's okay to have a difficult experience. And you want to be with that and then bring loving kindness towards your own hurt, towards your own upset around it. That's very, very important.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Alan. Yeah, Kurt, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a thought on that. And certainly separating the person from the being was a good awareness, number one. As you're talking, I'm thinking, there is no enemy. That's an abstraction we just put on them. Right. And it's really about something is uncomfortable in us with what we experience externally, right?
Yeah.
So then you're talking about being kind to yourself and say, it's okay.
Yeah.
Just something that's your self-preservation you want to protect. Nothing wrong with that. Look to find what it was that triggered that reaction where I don't like them, or where I'm actually exhibiting being not kind and not loving, and say, okay, so that's how you had it hooked up before. And I think, be kind to yourself and say, no problem. Just let me replace that with the love and the kindness versus the other lens I had in front of me, and say, okay, it's doable. And I forgive myself, which then makes it absolutely easy to forgive the external folks that really didn't know what they were doing anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that was it.
Okay. Yeah, totally. And there's also a meditation of self-forgiveness. You say, I forgive me, I forgive you. There was another one, I forgive me, I forgive you, etc. But like going through these like kind of forgiveness prayers, very helpful. And then let me also make a comment. I'll bring this back up later, but when through both a kind of more like insight meditation, which we're going to start with insight meditation today, and a more heart-based meditation, the product of both of them, especially when they're combined, is seeing the world, seeing other people's behavior as causal, as caused by cause and effect, and not personal. And there can be lots of polemics and lots of controversy around the following statement, but in my mind, that seeing how things are causal and not personal is the first level of awakening. And it's seen very deeply, and after that, you can't see anymore that there is a fixed, separate self in you or in others that is outside of cause and effect. You notice how everybody's caught up in cause and effect, in the cycles of cause and effect, and understanding and compassion is what arises when that is seen. And it is, to be clear, it's a watershed moment. Before you don't see it, after you do see it, and the level of just suffering and irritation and anger and hatred, it can never be as great as it was, because the building blocks for getting extremely pissed and extremely, bitterly angry is just not there anymore. Okay. All right. Anything else coming up for people? This has been very productive.
Yeah, so I'll just kind of echo what you said. So my experience was I felt kind of superficial in the beginning, trying to go through meditation. It was getting easier as it went along. However, I ended up reverting back to what I was doing prior, which was just focus on my breathing rather than the guided meditation.
Sure.
And then a separate issue, one is I get back pain when I try to meditate. I don't know if I'm doing it at the end of the day and I do a lot of lifting.
Cool.
But the other thing is that I found the last 2 nights I had other plans when I scheduled to meditate.
Yeah.
I end up just skipping it completely. So I noticed this morning when I woke up, I felt different, not as good.
That's great. That's actually really important. There's some systems where they teach meditation. They have you meditate for like 2 or 3 weeks every single day, and then they tell you don't meditate for a week and just notice how you start feeling like crap.
Interesting. Yeah, so that's exactly how I felt this morning, just kind of getting up and
Excellent. That's a big insight.
Yeah. But that's pretty much my experience that I wanted to share.
Yeah, sure. Okay, great. Super. All right.